This is an FIU Composer 2.0 help video. The general topic is cubes, and this specific video is about the inverse cube piece. So we'll open up Composer. And we're just going to create a new scene. We're going to empty everything out. All right, so you should probably start, if you haven't already, by just looking at the cube piece video that explains how to create and work with cube pieces. This video, however, is about the inverse cube piece, which I'll just add to the scene here. And I'm just going to focus on the differences between the cube piece and the inverse cube piece, so those two together will give you the full picture. I guess the best way to do this is I'm going to add a couple of cube pieces here. In fact, I'll add 3. All right, and I'm going to call the first cube piece floor. And I'm going to call the other two wall. And it names them wall 1 and wall 2 for me, which is convenient. And I'm going to start building a room just out of these pieces. So I'll just get the floor and the walls in my working set, and we'll start with the floor. Oh, and I need a headlight. Always need a headlight. So right now they're all stacked on top of one another, and I'm just going to pull out the floor piece to be, larger, more like a 5-meter room, sort of a 5 by 5 meter room. And then I'm going to make it nice and thin, like a floor would be. And we'll hop over to the SRT, and we'll just bring it down to ground level. Then we're going to move on to the first wall, and I think you're going to start to see what is the problem here, which is tedium. I can construct a room out of 4 walls and a 4 walls and a floor, and then throw in a ceiling as well. But this is going to start to get very tedious very quickly. It would be nice if we had some sort of maybe pre-built room, or ability to just get 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling in there all at once. And maybe I could make that change to the software and sort of have a preset that brings these in. The other thing you could do is you could maybe you could build this once, and then have the have it as a scene, and then merge that pre-built scene into existing scenes. So you can just sort of import 4 walls and a floor and a ceiling multiple times, and maybe that would help. You could just throw it in a local asset project, and maybe that so you only have to really do it once. But the other problem that you run into is that then when you start trying to look at what you've built, the walls on the outside sort of block your ability to see on the interior space. You can see how if I had all 4 walls here, it would actually be really hard to see in here. And then if I put both a floor and a ceiling, I'd never really be able to see inside without, sort of getting in really close and trying to get the camera to sort of inside the room. It would be nice if you could actually look into the room from the outside as well. Well, the reality is that there's a pretty good trick that we've had in 3D animation for a very long time to deal with this, to make this a little easier. So I'm just going to get rid of the floor and the walls, which will leave us with just the headlight and the inverse cube. What we do is we have a type of geometry that where technically what we've done is we've inverted the normals. So it's just a single cube, but rather than look at it from the outside of the cube, you're looking at the inside of the cube. Basically, anytime you're outside the cube, the parts that are that would be blocking your view become invisible to you. And as you can see, this is actually a pretty good way to work. I can, no matter where I'm looking at it, I can always see the inside. And it's really just one set of dimensions to work with. So if I want to make the room 5 meters by 5 meters exactly, I can just type it in here. 5, and I'm going to make it 3 meters tall just for the fun of it. Actually 3.5 meters tall. right? And then just bring it up to roughly to floor level. Yeah, I could do that more exactly, but for these purposes, it's good enough. And so now I really only have one object to maintain with regards to just my interior space and how it's shaped. It makes it a little easier for simpler interiors. And that's really all it's for. It's for this one purpose of just making a space an easy, big rectangular space, an easy thing to do all at once, and then not really worry too much about. So if I just change my working set now to be just the person, I don't really have to worry too much about the room. It kind of just disappears. I can't select it. It's one object. It's not even really cluttering up my my piece list all that much, and it's just easier. And that's really what the inverse cube is for. It's really just for doing this. But it's it's a good enough trick and important enough to sort of make your life easier that I thought it was worth including. So that's it. That's the inverse cube.